How many of your clients, they rely on you for advice, they have those questions, but your pricing doesn't reflect those insights that you're giving them? Maybe they call with that quick question about cash flow, hiring, something regarding their taxes. You go ahead, you speak with them, possibly 10, maybe 20, or even 30 minutes later. You've shared insights and you save them thousands of dollars, possibly. You help them make that strategic decision moving forward that they called you about. They thank you, and that's it. No invoice. You haven't been compensated for that high value advice that you just gave away freely. So those conversations, they could actually be a consistent source of paid revenue for you. And it's currently something that you're probably undercharging for or giving it away for free. And we need to go ahead and correct that. This is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, and I'm showing accounting firm owners how to be able to increase their revenues working half the time. So I'm talking about what I call the advisory value ladder. And this is a framework that moves clients from compliance work over into high value advisory services, one single step or rung at a time. And with this process, I teach my current accounting and tax firm owners how to be able to implement it. And as a result, they're able to increase their fees, they're engaging quality clients, and it lets them work with their current clients at a higher level without any additional time spent working, because so much of what they were doing, they were already doing anyway. Now they're getting compensated for it. So with this process, they don't feel salesy or pressuring someone into a high level work. It's just a natural progression forward. And here's what I see. Think about clients when they come to you initially. They're reaching out to you, and usually they're talking about wanting or needing some type of compliance service, whether it's bookkeeping, it could be payroll, it could be tax services. And that's because that's how they see you, as that technician. It's something tangible. It feels like it's something everybody is on the same page with, and it is a safe first step to get started. But then as you start working with them, they're going to have questions. They're going to ask, can I afford to hire someone? Should I go ahead and lease equipment or possibly purchase equipment? And what can I do to be able to lower my tax bill next year? So those questions will come up from your clients. And because you're client-centered, you're going to naturally give them answers. You're going to respond to their questions. You're going to give them insights. But so often, the pricing of those answers aren't reflected in the value of what you're delivering for them, what you're giving them as far as insights. So that means that in order to increase your revenue, your workload needs to increase. But your income, because you're already doing advisory without labeling it or compensation, means that your income stays kind of flat. But if they're reaching out to you with those questions, those are the clients that you're indispensable to. And we want it to be something that actually is of value to them, and it's a value to you because it's going to be impacting your revenues. It becomes a win-win. So think about how often, maybe in the course of a week, do you answer a strategic client question? And maybe you even did some research before giving them a response and a reply. And all of those answers, all of that research before you give those answers are costing you hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars that you're just losing, but it is high value. So this is what the advisory value ladder helps you prevent, is answering those quick questions, but not getting compensated. So the advisory value ladder has 5 rungs to it. And each one kind of builds upon the next, where it starts to increase trust, especially with new clients coming to you. It demonstrates results. It highlights your expertise, where they now start to see you as an advisor as opposed to a technician. And it's a way to be able to guide your clients forward into those higher level services so that now you are compensated for them. And as you know, clients so often when they first come to you, they just don't know what they need. They might say, oh, I need a bookkeeper. I need you to take care of my taxes. But that's where they start, because they don't know so much of the other things that you could be doing for them. And Your goal when they first reach out to you, that very first introductory meeting, isn't necessarily to solve their problems right then and there. It isn't for them to pick your brain and then say thank you and move on. This is where you're having that initial consult to explore fit, to be able to understand what it is that they want to achieve, what some of the challenges are, and it is a way to be able to ascertain whether they are a right fit for your firm moving forward. So when you're meeting with them during that initial consult, you want to ask some client-centered questions, like, tell me about your top priorities for next year. And what are some of the challenges that maybe are preventing you from reaching that, or that you're having concerns with where you feel stuck? And if we fix that, how would that make a difference for you? So those are some easy questions that you can build into your initial consult to where they start seeing the value of what you have to offer goes beyond the technical aspects of what you do on the compliance side. And this isn't a long, drawn-out conversation. Let's say for 15, maybe 30 minutes max. And at the end of it, you want to be able to see if they're a fit for moving forward. Do you like them? Do you feel that you can help them? If so, then you are offering them the next rung on the ladder. And the next rung number 2, is that paid diagnostic review. And once again, when you're having that initial consult, if you feel like they're a fit for moving forward, then you discuss the paid diagnostic review. For bookkeeping, that could be reviewing their financials, and maybe you could title it a cash flow diagnostic. For tax, it's doing a 2-year return review of their past year taxes, looking for those missed opportunities. Maybe there were missed deductions that they could have, planning opportunities. So basically, what you want to do is be able to review where things are currently at, whether it's taxes or their financials, and be able to give them some insights as to your recommendations before you actually start doing the work. And a way to be able to explain moving them in this direction with the paid diagnostic would be, I noticed that you mentioned that your financials need to be cleaned up, or that you overpaid on taxes last year. I would like to offer a discovery assessment where we can go ahead and review what's going on. I can make recommendations. I will identify opportunities, and we will go ahead and map out a plan for moving forward. The investment for this is $1,200. And what we'll do when we meet after I do the review is discuss your bookkeeping and financial recommendations to get everything cleaned up. If you're doing bookkeeping, if you're doing the tax side, we will discuss your taxes and recommendations I have for that. Does that interest you? So that is a way to be able to take that consult and move them into a paid diagnostic. This is something that Chelsea did. She's a bookkeeper. She had that initial consult. She talked about the paid diagnostic. It was priced at $750. That particular client said yes. And as a result of that, she was able to fully scope out the project before she actually ended up doing any work in the project. This avoided all of those surprises that happen as you usually dig into a cleanup project. And by doing this, it was something that now protected her time because she was able to fully scope out the project. It highlights her expertise, not just the technical part, and it actually is a natural rung in the client value ladder, leading to higher value work and engagements. So that is the very first rung, is having an initial consult and then moving into a paid diagnostic. The next step of the rung number 3, is the project or the setup. So this is where you've now done the paid diagnostic. You are meeting with the client to discuss your recommendations and what it would be to move forward and take action based on those recommendations. So this could be maybe a cleanup project. It could be tax resolution, or maybe even some type of process or system implementation. It depends on what they originally came to you and what it was that the paid diagnostic assessed. But these projects are usually one time, they are limited in the time frame, and they are very, very focused on what it is you're doing for them and the deliverables. So once Chelsea met with this client about the cleanup, she was able to now dive into the project and get their financials up to date. And as a result of that, they had measurable deliverables that she could show them how things had changed and what to expect. And now the next step was to move forward up to rung number 4 of the ladder. And this is where you have the ongoing compliance or the ongoing service that you want to move them into. Usually it's some type of ongoing maintenance. So now that things are up to date, they're compliant, they're in place, we want to move them into some type of maintenance. That could be monthly bookkeeping. It could be maybe quarterly tax reviews that you're doing with them, or some type of ongoing insights and reporting. But the main thing is this is the compliance side of what you do. It's reliable, but it's also a way to start to now get some insights into advisory opportunities in order to be able to continue to move them forward, increase the value of a client, and be able to engage them into high level advisory services. So maybe as you're doing the work with them on the monthly basis, the compliance side of things, whether it is tax or bookkeeping, you can maybe let them know, oh, I noticed that you had a 20% increase in revenues last quarter. So how are you planning to manage the cash flow with that particular growth? And that single question is something that can open the door to advisory services, which is the top rung of the ladder. It's rung number 5. Well, at this stage, they've already been working with you. They know what you can offer. You position yourself as an advisor right from the start, even though you aren't fully at that level yet. And we want to be able to now move them into advisory services where they see you as a very high valued individual on their decision-making team. And with this, it might be that you're helping them with forecasting, possibly cash flow. It could be tax strategy, or maybe some growth strategy for their business. But the bottom line is, as you're moving them into advisory, the fees reflect the value that they receive from working with you at this higher level, not the time spent doing the work. This is how you move into value pricing. And the engagements can go anywhere. They are all over the map. They can start as low as $3,500 for the entire year to be able to get additional revenue, to be able to get additional advisory meetings with you on a regular basis, not necessarily monthly or weekly at that point, but, or maybe it's a one-time project, but it's at a high level advisory engagement also. So it can go anywhere from like $3,500 in revenue to maybe $100,000 in additional revenue, because now you're doing tax planning and tax strategy for someone that has high wealth and really wants the best tax advantage possible, or possibly that you're doing outsourced CFO level services. So the bottom line is, as you move a client into compliance over to advisory, it can range anywhere from the low 4 figures, about $3,500 a year in additional revenue per client, up to $100,000 and maybe even more, depending on the complexity of what they need and how you're going to work with them. So Chelsea, with that one client I was talking to you about, as she was moving this client up the rung, she started out with that $750 paid diagnostic. Now that particular client pays $10,000 a quarter, which includes the advisory services. And they are meeting regularly to discuss cash flow, job costing, profitability, and business development strategies. But I want to let you know, without a structured package, Chelsea would have been answering all these questions without any additional compensation. This client probably would have been at $1,000 a month or so, but instead they're now paying $10,000 a quarter. So this is something that is possible for you with your clients also. And you might be thinking, oh, my clients, they won't ever pay for this, especially because I've been giving them all the answers that they've been asking for free. So why would they pay for this? But I want to say this is a mindset shift that you need to first own. And it is a subtle shift in how you're moving them forward and you're discussing this. So once again, you want to have a conversation and let them know that you're now offering advisory services that are structured. And this is a way for them to continue to have clarity, insight, as well as actionable results. They need to see the ROI of moving in this direction. And the clients that are working with you in the capacity, they tend to value the confidence that they get from talking and reaching out to you first before they make decisions. And they also recognize that by talking with you first, there is definite benefits. It leads to better outcomes than if they didn't have you as that strategic resource. So we want to be able to have you frame it the correct way so it becomes a right fit and an easy yes for those right fit clients. So I want to be able to now discuss some implementation steps because we talked about the strategy and here's how to get started immediately. And this is with current clients as opposed to new clients coming in. New clients coming in, you're going to go through all 5 rungs. With your current clients, the ones that are already reaching out to you and they want your insights before they make decisions, is review your current client list. You know who maybe those top 5 clients are that are reaching out to you. They have questions, whether it's about cash flow, tax strategy, or possibly business development. So identify those top 5 clients. And then I want you to schedule a meeting just with one of them over the next week or 2. And maybe you're going to focus on cash flow with them, or tax strategy, or growth strategy, whatever it is you know is top of mind and a priority for them. I want you to just pick one of those things instead of every single thing that they need. Just have it be a focused, structured meeting. And then after that, you want to be able to have that meeting where it is a structured dialogue. It's now a guided conversation, and you are reflecting back on some of the questions that they've answered, that they've asked you, that you've already answered for them. You want to talk about some of the benefits they've received from those insights and be able to now talk about how they would benefit even more from having structured advisory meetings with you. So once again, you know what they've been asking you about all along. You want to review that and how they benefit, and now what they would gain from moving into a more structured meeting schedule with you. And the last thing you want to do in this is be able to offer them the advisory sessions moving forward, because a lot of times they don't need to do a paid diagnostic with you. They've already working with you on a regular basis. So current clients might not need the paid diagnostic unless it's a new project that they haven't discussed with you before. Otherwise, you can just discuss moving forward into advisory services where you're now setting up strategic touch points on a regular basis in order to be able to keep them on track with whatever their priorities are. So those are the 4 steps that you can start to implement with current clients right now. Is review the client list, come up with 5 clients that already reach out to you and they want your insights. Schedule a meeting with at least one of them over the next week or so. Have a structured dialogue where you're focusing on things that are a priority for them, and then go ahead and discuss moving forward into advisory services. And if you were to do that, which client comes to mind for you? Who would you want to start with first? And just have that awareness of who you would want to start with first. So the client advisory ladder is not about adding to your workload. It's about being able to recognize the value that you're already delivering and be able to do it now in a more structured way so that you're able to meet with your clients on a regular basis and you are getting well compensated for the insights that you're giving them. And by doing this, you don't need more clients necessarily in order to increase your revenue. You need to just have a single meeting this week with one of the clients that you identified, and that's already been asking you these strategic questions. And the first step is to open the door with them by having that conversation to move them into advisory services. And think about, by doing this, you now have mapped out your ladder. We know all 5 rungs. Your current clients might not need the paid diagnostic, so you might be able to skip that rung with them. And as a result of this, this is now leading with you being an advisor, them seeing your expertise, and you getting well paid for something that you were currently giving away for free. So I would love to hear from you what resonated with you, what you took away from this, what you see as your next step moving forward in order to be able to formally offer advisory services instead of just giving away your highest value, which is your expertise, without any compensation. And if this is something that appeals to you, but you would like to be able to have the guidance to be able to implement this into your firm, especially with your current legacy clients, then reach out and let's have a conversation about how the advisory ladder would work with your firm, being able to identify some of those top clients that you would want to be able to reach out to, how to be able to move forward with pricing these services so you don't continue undercharging for them yourself because you don't recognize the full value. So if that appeals to you and you want to be able to have that conversation about how to implement this advisory value ladder into your firm, reach out, go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. And that way we can look at what it would mean to be able to bring this into your firm services. Anyway, your clients already trust you. They're asking you questions. They're following you on your advice. Now we need to lead with the full benefit of your expertise, have it be more structured. So you have increased the value of a client. You're getting paid for your expertise, and your clients, they're being guided in a structured way that gets them even better results. Anyway, this is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting firm owners how to be able to double their revenue, working half the time.